Hey, what's happening, guitar players? In this video, we're going to go over exercise 5 for pattern number 2. And here's an example of what that could sound like. Okay, so a quick overview of what we're doing in this pattern. We're going back to doing our pattern in triplets again, but in this time we're going to be using octaves. There's a couple of different tricky elements to this this exercise. Number one, we're going to use the pattern in octaves, so we're not just going to stay in one scale position. We're going to use our octaves to move up the neck and down the neck. And then we're also using the element of doing this pattern just on 2 strings. So it makes for like two tricky elements, and then there's a couple hidden elements that are also tricky just because of what we have to do on our B, or from the G to B string, what we refer to as our B string shift. Let's go over what we're going to do in this exercise. So one of the tricky things that I was mentioning about it is we're going to use all 7 fingerings of our major scale. So there's not necessarily every mode we're going to use technically, but I always think of each mode as having its own position. So when I start playing my major scale, that's just my regular, what I refer to as my major scale position. I could be playing the same scale, but now I'm starting up on the 5th fret, so we're technically in fifth position, since your pointer finger is on the 5th fret. So the way I process this is I'm in my Dorian mode position, even though you're only playing the Dorian mode if you're starting on the 2nd note of the scale. This is like music theory, kind of music nerdy stuff, which is extremely helpful to know, but you don't have to know it. So anyway, for this pattern, for this exercise, we're going to be using all 7 of our positions, our scale positions. Those 7, I'm not going to show them to you. That's a different video. This exercise, we're going to start way down here, and we're going to end way up there. And then on the way back down, we're going to start up here and make our way back down. Okay. So let's do this nice and slow as usual. So what we're going to do is a regular old pattern on 2 strings. All right. So now we're going to do that in octaves. So the easy part about this is that we're doing the exact same thing we just did, just starting on a different part of the neck. So if you think in terms of what your fingers did on each string. So we just did 2 whole steps. Whole step and a whole step. Whole step being the distance between 2 frets. And then on the next string we did 2 whole steps, and then on the 3rd string, half step and a whole step. Okay. So now we're gonna do the same thing, but we're gonna start on the closest octave of this note, which is the 5th fret of our D string. We're going to do the same thing we just did. So that was both of those strings, it's just 2 whole steps. And here's one of the little hidden tricky parts. So the B string, in general, we always have to move everything up 1 extra fret on the B string. So normally, everywhere else just about, that next note would be on the next fret up. But because of the B string, we gotta slide it up 1 more. So that right there makes for a little bit of difficulty, because you gotta take your fingers gotta be a little bit faster to get to the 7th fret on time. All right, so all together, what we've done so far is. Stay on the D string, Whoa. I don't know what happened there. That was ugly. Okay, so now we're going to start the octave again. We're going to do the same thing. So there's the octave. Normally you'd think it would be just two strings down, 2 frets higher, but because of that B string, it's going to be 1 fret higher up. So now we're going to start doing the same thing again. Those 2 strings of a whole step, whole step, whole step, and a whole step, whole step. All right, so we've run out of strings. That would be moving up a string simulation. All right, so from here, what we're gonna do instead of moving up another string, we're just gonna start going up every scale degree. So from here we did 8th fret, 10th fret, 12th fret on both strings. So the next, we're gonna do that twice, sorry. And then we're gonna start on the 10th fret. We're gonna go 10, 12, 13, 10, 12, 14. Another tricky part, because your fingers aren't getting to do the same thing on each string. All right, so we do that twice. And then we're gonna move up again, starting on the 12th fret. We go 12, 13, 15, 12, 14, 15. All right. And we've got a couple more to go. So next one is 13, 15, 17, 14, 15, 17. So this is a tricky area because your fingers are doing something different on both strings for these 3 cycles of the pattern. All right. And then from there, that's the end of our ascending. And then to descend, we're going to slide up, and this is going to be that 7th scale, which I recognize as my Locrian mode position. And then we're going to start doing our descending. So let me do this nice and slow, the whole pattern, starting way back down here at the bottom of the stairs. Okay. An octave of that. Of that. Now we're just going to start going up scale degrees. All right, and that is our ascending. The descending, so we're going to start, like I said, we're going to move up and start up in the next scale position. So we should be on 19, 17, and 15. So both of those, on both of those strings should be fairly easy because it looks the same again. We've got 2 whole steps on each string. So that's 19, 17, 15 on both strings. All right, so here's another somewhat tricky part. So that was 19, 17, 15, and then 17, 16, 14. So you got that jump with your pinky from the 19th fret to the 17th fret. Okay, so now we're going to do octaves of that. So our octave of our starting point is now going to be on the 16th fret of our G string. So that was the first thing we did was 2 strings of just whole step and whole step. So 16th fret of our G string, go down 2 strings with just whole steps. All right. And then on our D string, we should be on 16, 14, 12, and then 15, 14, 12. And octave of that. So she's starting on the 14th fret. 14, 12, 10, 13. Whoa. No, not yet. Bad fingers. 14, 12, 10, 14, 12, 10. All right, now we're going to go down our scale degrees. So it just means we're starting on every note of the scale instead of moving down by strings. All right, so the next one will be starting on the 12th fret of our A string. We're going 12, 10, 9, sorry. 12, 10, 8. Kind of doing that little hard area again where the strings, your fingers aren't doing the same thing on each string anymore. Alright, so the next one after that is going to be 10, 9, 7 on the A, and on the E, 10, 8, 7. One more to go. After the A string, 9, 7, 5, and the E string, 8, 7, 5. And then you're done. So on this one, what I usually do is I just do the whole pattern, and then when I get to the end, I kind of just hang out and wait for like 4 beats, and then I start it over again. It's a long one to do over and over and over, and honestly, my fingers start getting a little bit tired when I'm trying to do this really fast, and I start getting a little bit sloppy up in that area, and very little forgiveness with these super skinny strings on the your B and high E string. If you don't get your coordination just on, it starts kind of sounding blurry. So that's always kind of a tough one. But then also on the flip side, on the low strings, the fatter strings, you get a little more forgiveness as far as if you're not perfectly in sync, it's harder to tell, but it starts getting muddier, so you got to be better with your muting. Otherwise, kind of just sounds noisy, and you can't really hear the notes super clearly. All right, so that is your pattern. Or I'm sorry, that is your exercise for that pattern. All right, so there is your exercise 5 for pattern 2. Like I said, it's a tricky one. It's got a lot of hard elements to it, so just gonna take that much more practice to get really awesome at it. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you learned something, and I'll see y'all next time.